gonna be a good one. Oh, see, perfect. Thank you, man. So this at least I own it today. So today I'm gonna go over a topic. I'm gonna actually read something from Law of Success in 16 Lessons. But I'm gonna show y'all why you are getting results. I'm gonna show y'all why you're getting results. I'm gonna give you the principle is one of the first principles in the book, but it's a principle of life. So I'm gonna show y'all why you are starting to get results and how results actually work in consciousness. Okay, how results work in consciousness. So I'm gonna do a few things. First, I'm gonna draw a table that you can take a picture of the faculties of the mind. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna draw a picture of the faculties of your mind. It's multiple moving parts. They all do a different function, and every single one of us has it. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and draw it out, and it's gonna be a crude model, but just pay attention to what's written down because this is everybody's mind. So encompassing everything. Now this is not the golden funnel image. It just gives a little more detail to the golden funnel. Up around here, this is infinite intelligence. This infinite intelligence is the whole thing. Okay, so that's that. Next, you have the subconscious mind. So we're gonna call this the subconscious. All right, and the subconscious mind is connected directly to the first level of the mind or first faculty, which is your willpower. This is will. Okay? It's and I'm gonna put a line over here because the subconscious mind is connected individually to each of these faculties. So you got will, you have reasoning, your reasoning faculty. Okay? You have your emotions. Your emotional faculty. You have your conscious, IENCE. I think that's how you spell it. So conscience, it's like your conscience. Is that right? I don't know, but that's it. Conscience, and then you have your five senses. All right. Next, down at the bottom, you have intuition. You have memory down at the bottom. Actually, the five senses go there too. Five senses. So these are the faculties. Now, the subconscious mind is connected directly to each one of these. It has access to all of these directly. This is the faculties of your mind. Okay, multiple moving parts here. Your willpower, your will is it is your choice. You are actually all will. You can really say to a large part you are. Oh, I forgot the imagination, but you are all will. So let's put imagination up here. It's actually above, but I'm gonna just put it down here. Imagination. So you are all will. Will is your ability to choose and initiate action, initiate mental action, initiate emotional action, initiate physical action. You are really all will. Now, the proper use of the will we'll go over another day, but I just want to show y'all this map. Okay? Now, your will is different than reasoning. What you do with the reasoning is you take information and you take the images and you take the belief systems and you reason them out. Lisa, go take a picture, put it in the chat, by the way. So you got your reasoning. You use your reasoning to kind of clarify the ideas that you got in your mind. Emotion, you can't really trust your emotion to make decisions on it, decisions on everything. Let me go ahead and scroll that down so I can see this. So your emotional faculty is important because nothing moves without emotion. You actually need emotion in order to move. Memory, five senses. Yeah, intuition, memory, five senses. Your conscience, it lets you know if you're doing something good or bad. Everybody has a conscience. And then your imagination, it's the workshop of the mind. It's what you use to create new ideas. It's what you use to assemble old ideas into a new order. So that's imagination. Now your subconscious mind has access to all of these. Now the question is, here's the question I want y'all to ask yourself. If all of these different faculties are in the mind, then how do you keep these in order? Because why does the mind go all everywhere? I'm gonna tell you, a lot of your thinking processes are based on emotion. A lot of our thinking process based on emotion. So the emotion will take you everywhere, and it take your mind everywhere. That means the will is not in control. A lot of times that's what happens. Other times you got memories that trigger emotion and make the mind go everywhere. Sometimes that happens. Your five senses are the most deceptive. You cannot trust them. Your five senses will deceive you every single time. Your eyes and ears will deceive you every single time. You will think that it's the end of the world if you trust your eyes and ears. You will legit think that. And that's why people are feeling crazy. That's why we feel crazy sometimes because we listen to the five senses. Okay? Yeah, it's in healing. I'm a qualify the word healing, but that's absolutely the reason why. Intuition, you can't necessarily control intuition. It kind of flash in on its own. So these you got to really put under training. But the will, the reasoning, the emotion, the conscious, the imagination are all connected to the subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind is connected directly to infinite intelligence. It's the only faculty that's directly connected to infinite intelligence or God or the light. So this is just a map. Copy that down as best you can, or just try to understand that this is all the faculties, right? So I'm gonna show y'all how this works. How do you get all of these going in the same direction? Do you try to control one at a time? Do you try to what? Sarah. Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh, last thing, sorry, my audio cut out on my laptop, but what was the
Mm-hmm.
last part you said about the subconscious mind and it was connected at the top?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Subconscious mind is the only one connected to infinite intelligence. It's the only faculty of our mind that has a direct connection, and
Okay,
that's the
thank
correct.
you.
You're welcome. So the question is, how do you get all of this going in the same direction? Y'all are about to learn the most important principle, one of the most important principles outside of the mastermind to control your mind. Okay. One last thing before I start this. Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil. It's an interesting book. He didn't really want to release the book. Okay. But he wrote Outwitting the Devil. He did not release it. It was tucked away. And I think he didn't release it because of the fear of criticism. I actually think that's the reason that he didn't release it. But when he released it, the whole book was an interview with the devil. And he said, what does the devil do? The devil does one thing, and don't take the word however you want. It's like the opponent. The opponent does one thing. It tries to get you to drift. Now, what is drifting? Drifting is when you go through life without a definite, clear aim. That is the opponent's desire. If the opponent can get you to drift, it can control you. It will use you for negative, use you for evil, use you for wrong purposes. And you just fall prey to your five senses, your cravings. That's when you lose control of your mind. Your will is you don't have a will. You have a will, but it's not being exercised. The will is the most underutilized faculty of our mind. Why do you think we say in meditation, come back to the nose? The reason we want to come back to the nose is not because it's easier, it's because it's harder. And we're training your will to do it. If you can bring your attention back to your nose, that is exercising your will to do it. That's the reason we're doing it. And as you exercise your will, you start to control your own mind. But let's talk about this. How do we control all of these faculties and get them going in the same direction? Here's how. You have to have a definite chief aim. One, this is the magic number. You have to have one singular aim, not two, not three, not 1.5. One. There cannot be two. And this is so hard for people to get. For me, I'm telling you, I'm the king and master of many. Okay. When I tell you, I wanted to do all of everything all the time. It doesn't work. Leisha, I tell you. When it comes to, and look, I had to make it's hard to decide too, because I love arts. I'm an artist. If y'all haven't noticed, I'm a very creative person. I'm called to do a certain thing, but I am creative. So music was my passion, and I'm good at it. I love music, but I had to decide which one am I going to do? Am I going to pursue this or that? And then once I decided, I'm going to do my calling. My calling is to wake people up to this secret information that has been hidden from them intentionally and on purpose so they can feel what it's like to be connected to something infinite within them, because that's what changed my life. And I know it'll change theirs if they know what's in them. I have to do that. That means I have to say totally no to the music, to the arts. I have to actually say no. If you don't do this, you will drift. Okay? Thank you, Sarah. When you start to drift, that is when the unoccupied space in your mind is occupied by the opponent. The opponent occupies all of your unused mind space. Have you ever heard of idle mind is a devil's playground? You ever heard that phrase? Idle mind is a devil's playground. What it means is, it's speaking to a truth. The opponent occupies all of the unused mind space in your mind. So when you are not deliberately feeling good and feeling better, and whatever that may be, it may be taking a walk, it may be singing, it might be turning on some music and dancing, it might be laying in the pool. It may be, I saw a dude outside today. He had his shorts on, his dog, and he was laying in the grass, just laid out, belly and all. He was feeling it. He loved himself. I could tell. Look, he was feeling good and feeling better. That was intentional for him. So I'm telling you, if you are not intentionally and deliberately employing your mind, which is the use of willpower, to something, the opponent slips in and occupies the unused mind space and starts to get you to drift and do negative, essentially evil. It will take you down that path. That's what ends up happening. So if you see somebody who is down and out, who's in that situation, understand they have drifted their way there. Okay, they've drifted. Now, this don't. Some people might say, well, it's the people who focus all their attention on just getting rich only. What about them? Did they choose that? They may have chosen it at one point, but when does it become an obsession you can't control? When can they back up and create no thought and create space and peace? Is that possible? If not, they're drifting. It is not their choice. It's always about your will and your choice. Okay, so how do we fix this problem? The way that you fix the problem is you get a definite chief aim. So why does this work? Here's why it works. First of all, the aim has to be singular. Number two, you have to have an emotional charge. Just go back to the golden funnel. This goes back to the golden funnel. You have to have an emotional charge on it that is so magnificent, obsessive. I'm talking magnificent. You got to fall in love with it like a lover. Yes. Decide means to cut everything else off. So that leaves one. So here we go. What does this do when you got a definite chief aim? I'm about to read a couple things. Let's go to Napoleon Hill's book. This guy studied the top 500 most successful people of his day and put all the principles that every one of them used in the book. So we're going to read from this because and by the way, he spent 25 years for free researching them. I want you to think about that. Would you spend 25 years of free anything, doing anything? Think about that. Okay, if you would, you are a special person. That's right, sir. Exactly.
Going crazy, exactly.
Total passion, and you will look obsessed, right? That's the point. That's the point. Let me read this. Okay. This is the reason for its definitive fame. Here we go. It is a well-established principle of psychology that a person's acts are always in harmony with the dominating thought of his or her mind. I want you to write this down. It's a well-established principle of psychology, this is the part you write, that a person's actions are always in harmony with the dominating thought of his or her mind.
Person's actions always what?
A person's acts are always in harmony with the dominating thoughts of his or her mind. Now, I'm going to point out a couple words. Dominating thought. That means that thought is bigger, stronger, more persistent, more all-pervasive, intrusive than any other thought. It's the dominating thought in your mind, not the one that you think sometimes. Not the one you think in the morning for 5 minutes and then forget the rest of the day. Not the thought that you would like to think about a little bit, but don't really. Not the thought that you think sometimes. The thought that dominates is what guides your behavior, your physical behavior. Okay, let's read the next line. Any definite chief aim that is deliberately fixed in the mind and held there with determination to realize it, finally saturates the entire subconscious mind. I'm going to read that again. Any definite aim that is deliberately fixed in the mind and held there, that means it's there for a long duration of time. Hours and hours a day. Now you got to work yourself up to that, some of y'all, but hours a day is so intrusive. Held there with determination. With the determination to realize it, meaning I intend to make this happen. So it's not a thought that's in your mind like, wow, that would be great, but I'm not determined to get it at all. So let me just go out and go about my day. Not that thought. It's a thought that you deliberately fix in your mind. No, I'm thinking about this. This is what I want. Boom. That second is, I'm going to create this. That is what he's speaking on. Because he says, fixed in the mind and held there with the determination to realize it. We gotta break this down. A determination to realize a goal is different than just having one. How many understand the difference what I'm saying? The determination to realize it is totally different than just having it. Just having it is first, but it comes a point when you decide. And that's when it becomes a determination, and then you back it up with persistence. All right, but let's read the rest of it. If finally, the one that you decide you are going to get, it finally saturates the entire subconscious mind until it automatically influences the physical action of the body.
Tanya said the action past the desire. It's the action past the desire, Tanya says.
Is it past it?
She didn't put a question mark. She just said it's the action past.
It's the action past the desire. Yet it's that action. I'm going to read this again. This is a powerful sentence. This is a powerful few sentences, y'all. Okay, listen to this again. Any definite aim. I need to emphasize that because you need to choose your aim wisely. Pick one that you won't really, because you're about to get it. So you might as well pick one you won't. Pick one you really won't. Any definite aim. That is deliberately, meaning on purpose. I did this on purpose. I woke up and I said, I'm intending to fix this in my mind. That's deliberate. It's not like, oh, it just slipped in my mind. No, I deliberately and on purpose did this. Deliberately. Fixed in the mind and held there. Not just, oh, well, yeah, I thought about it today. I thought about my goal. I did the 3-6-9 method. I wrote it 3 times. I wrote it 6 times. I wrote it 9 times. So what? That's not all day. Held there.
So this is like related back to before those lines. This is like moving on purpose from conscious competence into.
Yeah, this is actually conscious competence level. Yes. Yeah. Conscious competence to unconscious competence. Absolutely. That's this level. So it's held there with the determination to realize it. Listen to this part. Finally, after a while, it will saturate the entire subconscious mind. Don't you know the subconscious mind is the seat of action? It does all your actions. Okay. It saturates the entire subconscious mind until it automatically, damn, these words powerful. It automatically influences the physical action of the body toward the attainment of that purpose. I really don't need to read another sentence for you to understand the power of actually choosing something. You can't do this if you don't choose a single aim. You don't have this power. It's not possible because your subconscious mind automatically, after a certain point, toward the attainment of the purpose. Automatically. So this is why people who succeed, they have no clue what they did. The goal was in there. It saturated the subconscious mind and it automatically made them do it. They don't even know what they did. They can look back and go, yeah, I did this, and that. They forgot the part where they saturated the whole subconscious mind. Accidentally successful. Exactly. This is why people don't know what they're doing. They have no idea that they're doing it. Napoleon Hill literally was following them around with a notebook. Just imagine a little small man walking behind a person succeeding and just writing down notes. Like, okay, he keeps doing this. Imagine that. That's what he was doing. And they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Okay? All right? So that's what he did. I'm going to read it one more time straight through. Any definite chief aim that is deliberately fixed in the mind and held there with the determination to realize it finally saturates the entire subconscious mind until it automatically influences the physical action of the body toward the attainment of that purpose. Y'all, game. This is game. This is game. This is what they don't want you to know. It's not that many secrets. They want you to look. They put all they actually. I'm gonna tell you, it's a small group of people who know this shit, and what they want to do is confuse the. They want to confuse the fuck out of you. Excuse my French. I gotta emphasize it. They want to confuse you. They want you to think it's all these things, so many. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be all these things. They want you to believe it's all these. It's not. It's very simple. That's why it's so scary. Because imagine if you knew this. Imagine if you knew all you had to do was get one aim. And it's one that you really want. And it's big. And you focus on that. Because you know if I focus on this, my subconscious mind is going to get saturated. Then it's going to automatically make me accomplish it. I don't even need to know how. Imagine if you knew that. That's dangerous. Because then you won't buy my stuff. I need you to buy all my stuff. If you know you can get anything just by focusing on it, why would you buy my stuff to make you get what you want? No, don't let them know any of it. It makes it confusing. They want you to be confused. Okay? Law of Success in 16 lessons. It's a major one.
My favorite.
This is why it's Alicia's favorite. Okay, I'm going to read the next sentence I highlighted. All right? The subconscious mind may be likened to a magnet. When it's been vitalized and thoroughly saturated with any definite purpose, it has a decided tendency to attract all that is necessary for the fulfillment of that purpose. Dang. This is dang. Let me read it again. The subconscious mind may be likened to a magnet. Everybody know what a magnet is, right? Okay. A magnet attracts metal, but think of your mind like a magnet. It's a tractor field. All right. And when it's been vitalized means injected with energy. When it's been vitalized and thoroughly saturated. When you talk about saturated, it means it's fully all the way filled. There is no space for anything else. That's difficult to get to, but it takes time. But you holding the definite chief aim there, but it says saturated. With any definite purpose, it has a decided tendency, the subconscious mind has a decided tendency to attract all, not some, not a few components, all that is necessary for the fulfillment of that purpose. Why am I telling you to have a single aim? Why am I emphasizing that? Why am I stressing it? Because you are the law of success if you pick one. It's automatic, y'all. The how happens on its own. This is why. It's in the first chapter. This was crazy. This is how far in the book is right here. This much, and this is how much is left. It's irrelevant if you know this. If you understand this point, you don't need anything else. It's the golden funnel 101. The how happens on its own. Saturate your mind. How do you saturate it? Increase the why. Vitalize the goal with the why. All right, I'm going to read it one more time and read the next sentence. So, subconscious mind may be likened to a magnet, and when it's been vitalized and thoroughly saturated with any definite purpose, it has a decided tendency to attract all that is necessary for the fulfillment of that purpose. So, like attracts like, and you may see evidence of this law in every blade of grass and every growing tree. Okay? Now, next sentence. Men and women are subject also to this same law of attraction. What is it trying to say? It's saying if you have saturated your mind with the feeling of soulmate love. Let me explain something to you. All men and women are subject to this law of attraction. Okay. What are we saying? They'll come to you. And you don't need to know how. I literally got in the truck and drove across the country because Alicia's magnet brain. Literally. Anything will happen. Anything will happen for y'all to come together. Trust me. It's the way it works. It's the way it works. Next sentence. Water seeks its level with no finer certainty than man seeks the company of those who occupy his own general status financially and mentally. If you elevate your mind financially and mentally, you will attract financial and mental equivalents. You are unconsciously seeking out your mental equivalents, and they're seeking you. What you want wants you. I want you to think about this. You are unconsciously, right now, seeking out your mental equivalents. How do y'all think y'all got into boot camp? Everybody in the boot camp is a mental equivalent. Y'all are on a different level. Who's thinking like this out in the regular world? Who's having these conversations on a regular basis in the regular world? I'll let y'all answer that because y'all know the answer. Okay, next. All of which leads up to this statement that you will attract to you people who harmonize with your own philosophy of life, whether you wish it or not. Shout out to Jay for posting that in the chat. Okay? Now, a couple other sentences. All great leaders base their leadership upon a definite chief aim. Y'all hear what I'm saying, right? Whole goal of Empathy Empire, wake people up to the divine thing in them, making them feel good and even better constantly, making them prioritize that light. That's what we're doing, and we're doing it for the world. That's our goal. And we're doing it one person at a time, one little small group at a time. That's how we're deciding to do it, and it's working. We are waking up to another level of power within ourselves. This ain't just outsourcing power to somebody else. No. No. This is putting power back within yourself. All right? A couple other sentences. All right, I want to read this part to you. Hard labor, this is important. This is 99, this is training balance scale. Hard labor and good intentions are not sufficient to carry a man through to success. Read it again. Hard labor and good intentions are not sufficient to carry a person through to success. It's not efficient. It doesn't work that way. You have to employ laws of the universe that work inevitably. That means you have to have a definite chief aim. It needs to saturate the subconscious part of the mind because that's the law. And then that will do it on your behalf. All your physical body movements will move towards success if and only if you employ the law. Not if you have some good intentions and work real hard. Well, I had good intentions. I wanted to do it. It doesn't matter. If you can't notice that, it doesn't matter, right? The only thing that matters is what really works in real life. That's why we're in the boot camp, because we have to untrain the brain that just has good intentions and works really hard. I have a good heart. Yes, that's very important, but it will not make you succeed. You have to choose something in order to succeed. You have to back that choice with all of your energy for a long period of time and have it saturate the brain and subconscious mind before it will succeed. Just being a good person doesn't do that. Even though being a good person makes you feel the best. So mind you, what's the most important? Feel good and feel better. So keep that in mind. That's the most important. But understand, that doesn't make you create a business. That doesn't make you create a soulmate. You got to get this because it's two sides. One is the let's call it feminine masculine, yin and yang. The yin is all about the feeling. It's important. Yang is all about execution, which is also important. You have to have both. That's why this is so powerful. When y'all seeing like, wow, this is so much more clear. Why? We got the yang part of the yin. The yang is the structure. It's putting a structure in. All right? Read a couple more things, okay? Every well-built house started from a definite purpose, plan, a definite plan in the nature of set blueprints. Imagine what would happen if somebody tried to build a house in a haphazard method without work plans. It's like, let's just go out here and do it, y'all. Would you live in that house? I wouldn't walk on the floor in that house. You better go figure that out. I'm not walking in there. Okay. All right. A couple other things, and then I'm going to read this list. Until a person selects a definite purpose. Ooh, hold on. I'm sorry. This just be hitting me before I even say the whole sentence. My apologies. Listen to this. Until a person selects a definite purpose in life, he dissipates his energies and spreads himself and his thoughts over so many subjects and in so many different directions that they lead not to power, but indecision and weakness. Ah! Y'all see why this is the magic number? Everybody experienced it too. I'm a victim of that. Look at the 20 career. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's time to select. It don't work. It don't. We go through school in this way where it's like, all right, second grade. Okay, well, yeah, third grade. Okay, okay, fourth grade, 12th grade. Okay, college. All right, after college, it's like, what the fuck is going on? What? I thought it was grades to this. Like I thought we just went up the thing. It's not how it goes. You gotta select something. We never get taught this. We never get taught this. I'm gonna read it again. This is a powerful statement right here. Until a person selects a definite purpose in life, he dissipates his energies and spreads his thoughts over so many subjects and in so many different directions that they don't lead to power, but to indecision and weakness. If there's indecision or weakness in you, it's because you don't have an aim. That's it. If you feel powerless to do something, you don't have an aim. If you feel depressed, you don't have a dream. This is the only thing you need is a dream that's big enough for you to get excited about, small enough that you know you can accomplish. You will wake up. You will wake up. All right, now I'm about to ramble this list off. Um, I'm gonna ramble this list off because this is a powerful list. There's a bunch of people, okay, who chose definite aims, and this list changed my psychology. I hope it changed yours. Okay, now he did a survey. In answering the question, "What is your definite purpose in life?" that appears in a questionnaire, which he's used to analyze over 16,000 people, many answered as follows: "My definite purpose in life is to be as of much service to the world as possible and earn a good living." Okay, now here's his next statement. That answer is about as definite as a frog's conception of the size of the universe is accurate. Okay, that's his next sentence. He trying to make a point. That's not definite. It's not definite. The object of this lesson is not to inform you as to what your life's work should be. That could not be done. That could only be done with accuracy after you've been completely analyzed, but it intends as a means of impressing upon your mind a clear conception of the value of a definite purpose to some nature. That's all he's trying to do. Careful observation of business philosophy of more than 100 men and women who have attained outstanding success in their respective callings disclose the fact that each was a person of prompt and definite decisions. The habit of working with a definite chief aim will breed in you the habit of prompt decisions, and this habit will come to your aid in all you do. Moreover, the habit of working with a definite aim will help you to concentrate all your attention on any given task until you've mastered it. Okay, let me go ahead and read this list. Some notable examples. Woolworth chose a definite aim of belting America with a chain of 5 and 10 cent stores, concentrated his mind upon this task until he made it and it made him. Wrigley, the guy he made Piggly Wrigley. It was this chewing gum. Piggly Wrigley concentrated his mind on the production of the sale of a 5 cent package of chewing gum and turned this one idea into millions of dollars. Edison concentrated upon working of harmonizing natural laws and made his efforts uncover more useful inventions than any other man that ever lived. Edwin C. Barnes, the dude who worked with Edison, concentrated on the sale of Edison's dictating machines and retired while still young with more money than he would ever need. Woodrow Wilson concentrated his mind on the White House for 25 years and became its chief tenant, thanks to his knowledge of the value of sticking to a definite chief aim. He had for 25 years, he was trying to be president. Abraham Lincoln concentrated his mind on freeing the slaves, and he did it. Rockefeller concentrated on oil and became the richest man in his generation. Ford concentrated on fibers of an engine and made himself the richest, most powerful man who ever lived. Carnegie concentrated on steel and made his efforts build a great fortune that plastered his name on public libraries throughout America. Andrew Carnegie created the steel industry, consolidated the steel industry. Gillette, anybody heard of Gillette before? The Gillette razors? Gillette concentrated on a safety razor and gave the entire world a close shave and made himself a multimillionaire. George Eastman, the guy who made Kodak, concentrated on Kodak and made the idea yield him a fortune while bringing a much pleasure to millions of people. Russell Conwell concentrated on a simple lecture, Acres of Diamonds, and the idea yielded him $6 million. In today's money, that'd probably be like 50 or 60 million, I would say, maybe a little more. Hearst concentrated on sensational newspapers and made the idea worth millions of dollars. Helen Keller concentrated on learning. Helen Keller was a blind and deaf person. Concentrated on learning to speak, and despite the fact that she was deaf, dumb, and blind, realized her definite aim. John H. Patterson concentrated on cash registers, only cash registers, that's it, cash registers, and made himself rich and others careful. The late Kaiser of Germany, Hitler, concentrated on war and got a big dose of it. Let us not forget that fact. Marsh Fields concentrated on the world's greatest retail store and rose before him as a reality. Philip Armour concentrated on butchering or on the butchering business and established a great industry as well as a big fortune. Millions of people are concentrating daily on poverty and failure and getting both in overabundance. Look, Wright brothers concentrated on the airplane and mastered the air. This is a list of people, and I think this list just shows you how simple the concept is. They really did focus on one thing. It was so clear what the one thing was. All y'all got to do is focus on one thing. Choose it wisely. Choose it wisely. Because if you do, you're going to get it. It's just, why would we focus on things we don't want? Because we just don't know the laws. We don't know the laws. Okay? Last thing. First, every voluntary movement of the human body is caused, controlled, and directed by thought through the operation of the mind. Second, the presence of any thought or idea in your consciousness tends to produce an associated feeling and urge you to transform that feeling into appropriate muscular action that is in perfect harmony with the nature of the thought. Please pick a thought, meaning a definite single aim that becomes the father thought of all your other ones. You can have many thoughts, but guess what? They all got to be connected to this one. And he's gonna have a bunch of thoughts over here, but guess what? They all connect back to the one. This is the key. Yes, Leisha focused on the fact that she wanted to make people feel better. That was all she had. And look at it. Everybody is in this room because Leisha was focused on Empathy Empire and wanted people to feel better. That's literally why we're here. That's why I'm here. I'm the how of the damn thing. She made me this. I thought I was doing something. She done gave me an assignment.
That's God.
How's she gonna do that? Okay, anyway. Anybody got any questions, comments, or observations about themselves or what was talked about? Hopefully the lesson was drilled home. Hopefully. Candace, what's up?
Hey, Joshua. So I'm glad you went over this because I've learned, that's always kind of been my issue where I'm like I got so many things, that I want to focus on. Of course, it could be me being an Aries. I don't know, but so many, so many things I'm good at. I'm a jack of all trades. I guess you would say other from outside looking in. But as I've been taking this boot camp, you were very like. Even remember before we started, you asked me like, "Kens, what do you want?" And
Mhm.
I'm just like,
Mhm.
and so as we kept going along this process, I stuck on what I wanted. Cause I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on this one thing. Cause at first I was just like, well, if I get one thing, who's to say? I was like who say it's not gonna change, blah blah blah. But when I kept focusing on this one thing, I realized that as I was focusing on it, everything else that I wanted to start like coming in to me. So me focusing on like my purpose, right? As I'm focused on my purpose, I do want to be a wife to someone. So as I'm focused on my purpose, literally it's like all the other things are unfolding around me. I'm just like, oh, I get to have that. I get to get that too. Like
Yes.
just me focusing on this. Okay,
Yeah.
I can do that. And so that's what
Yeah.
I'm noticing.
Thank you. That's such a good point because what we don't know is that one goal is actually one feeling, and that feeling has many manifestations that go with it. So as we focus on one goal and it makes us feel the best, all the other stuff that make you feel like that just kind of come in too because law of attraction. This is the game. You picking a single aim, y'all picking a single aim for multiple different layers, multiple levels of reasons. One reason is because it gives you something to focus on, some one thing. But secondly, it's going to give you everything that feels like that. So go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I think Jay had a question.
Jay, did you have a question?
He can unmute now.
Yeah, well, this is really fascinating, and I'm going to share something that may be very powerful for a lot of people. When I went through my journey, my first number one was health.
Mm-hmm.
So the short of it was in 1979, I was diagnosed manic depressive, which is commonly called bipolar disorder, which today ADHD, et cetera, et cetera. Poor eating, sensitive being, off the rails. I didn't become medicine free until 2005, but I made the goal in 1999. And in 1999, my goal was whittled down from all these things to one. I was with achievement.com, and achievement.com is a library of motivating tapes. And I used to go into that, and I spoke to the guy, Paul Arroyo, who ran it. And he said, after a few conversations, that's it, focus on your number one. It takes about 20 years to really get that going. So I basically became healthy, super healthy, but I had to be healthy physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And to get that whole package took me a while. And I said when I was about 63, I finally arrived as healthy. And that took me from just turning 40, like 23 years. Maybe it was a little bit less, but roughly 20 years is the number for a humongous goal.
Mm-hmm.
I came off of serious drugs. I was on 19 pills a day at my worst. I was 3 belt sizes bigger. I was not in shape. So I'm a veteran of one and done. And I got rebooted for my next biggie. But I was this guy who was carrying a lot of interests, and I didn't focus until I got some focus. I got some traction.
Yeah.
We get traction by focusing. When we focus, things happen. And I had everything laid in front of me, and then I like backed away. I wasn't ready. Here I am being introduced to the top of the food chain in the music industry, and I had an invitation to get in. But my invitation was not winning because I was arrogant and I needed to still work on me. Just because I got my health, I still had more things to work on. I know this is kind of a long-winded share, but I hope it's helping someone else. Know that you can have multiple interests, but if you have more than one, there has to be a chief aim.
There we
And
go.
that is the key. And I
Thank
can
you.
always do more.
Thank you, Jay.
That's
Thank
a
you,
good
Jay.
one.
What he just gave, that is the game. That is game. And you know, we live in a society today that is so instant gratification. It is so microwave culture. And disadvantages and disadvantages. The advantage is everybody is trying to get stuff immediately, which it doesn't happen that way. So if you just decide to focus on one thing, you outpace everybody after in the next 5 years to 10 years. Nobody touches you because everybody's distracted. It's how you win. You win over the long term, not the short term. Short term is always somebody smarter than you, always somebody more intelligent, always got somebody stronger in the short term. People do not focus long term by and large. So if you want to win at anything, just focus on the next 5 to 10. Or if you want a humongous, like Jay said, a humongous goal that you really want, which mine is life purpose. That's been mine and it will be mine. That's the main one. If you want a humongous goal, like Jay said, focus on that number one. That should be the vision for your life, for your living life. And then you should have one that's even larger for hundreds of years out. But get that number one thing. Yes, babe.
Tanya asked a question. I'm just gonna unmute her so she can ask.
Go ahead, Tanya.
I said, so if you achieve your goal and now you've decided you want to retain what you worked for, but you also want something else with you worked for, where's your focus? Is it on
Good question.
your goal, or are you?
That's a good question.
Where's your focus?
That's a good question. You only can focus on one thing. So exactly, Jay said it. You only can focus on one thing at a time. So let's say you accomplish this thing. You're like, I want to maintain this. Do not think that way, because what you're saying is, I don't want to lose it. That's actually what you're saying. You cannot think, I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose it. You think, I have this. What's the next level of my life? Focus on the next level of your life, and maybe that's another goal, but don't focus on maintaining one goal. So for instance, me and Alicia, we are together. Okay? Now that we're together, we want to grow in our happiness and joy in our relationship. Okay? The way we feel we can do that is doing what our souls tell us to do. So now we're doing this together. So our relationship is included here, right here, included in our big goal. So our big goal includes improving our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
That's the way that I do it. Is you just have to select the goal that will automatically domino the other ones that you want to maintain or improve. So that's the game you play. It's a challenging game, but that's the fun of it. Like you choosing a goal that's worth it. And that's the game. That's the reason to have it big enough, especially with the vision. I hope that answers your question, Tanya.
Yeah.
Good question.
Thank you.
Very good question. Any other questions, comments, observations about the content? Go ahead, Jay.
All right. Yeah, a little more steps to get unmuted. So the secondary love I mentioned is okay because on my palm, I have multiple lines under the ring finger. I don't know if you can see it on this camera. Can you see my ring finger?
It's blurry.
This finger, well, on the ring, I'm also a palmist. I was born with the knowing because my south node is Pisces, which is kind of crazy. But anyway, the palm, you have lines, and under the ring finger, if you have more than one, a lot of people in palmistry would say, oh my God, you're going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And I have that. I have multiple lines. So we got to work extra hard to focus on one thing at a time because we have multiple interests. So once you get the first goal and it's done, you're on a maintenance plan. It's not that hard because you got it. Right. Now you can put extra time into the second primary goal. So my first one was health. My next one is my presence in the world, because if I was unhealthy, my presence in the world, no one would respect it anyway. So until I got myself in order, which was my first step, I was delayed, 60 plus years. Now that I've got myself in order, but I have my health, I do have a bicep. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but the point is, if a person is healthy and fit, now they can go to the next level. Some people are just gifted with all that. I didn't have that gift. So once you get that in order, now you can go, okay, what's my outer world presence? And then you want that romantic presence if it's not there yet. Well, they're going to come based on who you are in the world. So if you change who you are in the world, I thought I was marrying da da da. Well, wait a minute. If that's not who you are, then I married the wrong person, and then we break up. It only works if you are on your path, because then the person you meet shares the dream. Otherwise, it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So there's a sequence to it all. If you think about, I got my health, I got my presence in the world, I have my location of where to do it. Because if I'm going to do music, maybe I should be in LA again, or I should be, well, I'm in Atlanta, which is another town that has music. But you got to be in a music center, Nashville if you're country, right? Because you got to be where the action is. And then the other element might be, once you identify that, who you want to hang out with, because all of a sudden you have the wrong friends. You got to have like the whole package. So think of it like, who am I with? What am I doing? When and where am I doing it? Who's going to join me? Who's going to support me? Who are my fans? Blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. But think like a package. Don't think of it like one and done, super simple.
Right.
But think of it like a method that you have all these ducks that line up.
That's just such a good description. Thank you, Jay.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. That was excellent. That was excellent. Because in everything that he said, because you can obviously see you've done those things because you have so many of the details involved in that. And if you didn't know those, let's say you didn't hear Jay say those things and we didn't know Jay, weren't blessed with Jay's mind in a group, then remember that Devin and Chief Aim would have led you to do those things anyway. You would get a hunch. I need to go to Tennessee, or I need to go to Atlanta. I need to go somewhere. You would get hunches on these things. But just remember that. And just to point out how this fits into Golden Funnel, what he just described was identity, which is who you are. This is the most important, is who you are. That will lead and guide all the rest of the desires. One by one, big ones, small ones, it's actually all included here. And then that is what guides the rest of it. So it'll drop down and manifest physically. But he just described the most important aspect, which is who you are, connecting with your soul purpose, your highest calling, which is what we're doing here. So that includes all of it. But you know what you want, though. Look, if it's, okay, I want the relationship, let's go ahead and that's my thing. When I want a relationship, it was the only thing I thought about. I didn't think about anything else. Probably didn't think about work. I'm skipping work. I didn't care about nothing else. I cared about my relationship. I wanted my relationship. I'm obsessive. So that's me. But you got to understand what you want and go totally in on it. And I realized what Jay said. Once I embody the biggest soul purpose, everything else is included. Everything else is included. It works that way. So good points. Good points. Anybody else want to share before we jump off? Okay. Look, this is an incredible session. I hope the point was got across. Look, get the book. You don't have to read the whole thing. I studied. You'll see, if you see right here, these are highlights. I highlight the book. And I go back over my highlights. That's what I do when I read. So when I go back over my highlights or my underlines, it's because these are what stood out to me. These popped out at me. So I'm going back through and I'm reading those over again, and it creates this dynamo of energy, something about it. And I read it back over again, and it hits, boom, 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 boom. And it gets this back, it gets me amplified again. Remembering why to have a definite aim. It goes all over again. It give me that clarity all over again. So continue to hit it. I'm a thorough learner. Everybody else in my class would get it like this. I'm like, because I needed to know it at the deepest levels. You want to be that person who needs to learn it over and over and over again so that it sticks. You want it at the depth. You want it in your DNA. That's what you want. So that's a good thing. All right. So I'm hopping off here. I will see y'all in the chat. Post your observations. If you got post observations, post your observations in the chat, because I know some stuff going to pop in your head after we get off that you should have said. Post that in the chat. All right.
I will send out a survey this weekend.
Alicia's sending out the survey this weekend, she just said. So be looking out for that too, y'all. I love y'all. Bye.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody say
So
bye.
cute.
She is the cutest. Bye.